Hey guys, today's video is all about tight hip flexors, common myths, daily hacks, and how to actually acquire strong hip flexors. So let's jump straight into our video with the first topic, the common myths about tight hip flexors. So the first myth of tight hip flexors is starting with the word tight itself. So the word tight is really confusing for some of you because the muscle is not getting tight because the insertion and the origin of the muscle is staying the same always. So better word for the tight is probably first, you'll most likely have pretty weak hip flexors. So okay, you have the information, you have weak hip flexors, you get it out of your mind that your muscles are in a shortened position. So what you're gonna do, or what your physiotherapist tells you, oh yeah, just stretch it out. So that's the second mistake, just stretching. So with stretching, a lot of people feel better, and of course stretching is not bad, but it won't help you to get out of this weakened hip flexor position, or it won't help you to decrease the feeling of tightness. Maybe for a couple of minutes or maybe half an hour after you stretch for a long time, or for a couple of minutes, you feel obviously better, but it won't help you to get lasting results with your hip flexor strength. Okay? So the third myth about tight hip flexors are, if you are you have weak hip flexors, and if you know stretching won't help you, the third mistake a lot of people do is just train your legs, just train your quads with maybe a squat or leg press or a leg extension, and yeah, my hip flexors are strong now, of course. Not really, because what we're going to show you here in this last point is how you really increase your hip flexor strength, okay?
Next up are daily hacks. And daily hacks are all about what we can do in our daily life to improve our hip flexors or our hip flexor tightness. So we have a couple things that we can do to feel better and to not feel as tight. But first off, I think we mentioned it before, but we are sitting a long time during the day, or most of us are sitting a long time during the day. And then we have a couple things you can do even when you're in your office to just improve it a little bit. That is not fitness related. So first off are CARs. CARs are controlled articular rotations. Okay? And they address your full range of motion, in this case of the hip. So you draw a big circle, and how it's done is shown at the end of the video. And you can do them in the morning, you can do them at your desk. You just have to stand up quickly and do that for 2 minutes, and then you can sit back down, which is really great because then your body is just moving, or your hip is just moving in ranges of motion it doesn't usually go into, which will ultimately make you feel better. So that's our number one advice for the daily hacks. And then the second one is just get up and move. So basically when you're sitting, set yourself a timer for 30 minutes for every 30 minutes that you're in the office, and just say, okay, every 30 minutes I'm standing up. Every 45 minutes I stand up and I just walk around the office, or I go to the toilet, or I get myself a glass of water, or whatever. You know, you just get up and walk, or you stand at the desk for a couple of minutes and then just do the thing standing. So move more on a regular basis every day in the office. And there is no one who could not do that. If you have a meeting for 2 hours, by all means, yeah, you don't have to stand up during the meeting, but at your regular office day, I'm pretty sure you can do that. And then we have our third point, which is even when you don't want to stand up, which you should be doing, but even then you can do something, which is change your seating positions, okay? This is a really good one because then usually you sit in a 90-degree angle with your hips like this, but then you could also sit in like a figure 4 position and just lay one foot on top of your leg, and then you just sit like this, or in a combat base where you have one leg flexed. You just play around with it and sit in this position as long as you feel comfortable in, and then you just change the position again. This is good. I mean, then you're changing your positions a little bit, but you're not moving. But it at least gets you out of this normal sitting position that a normal chair would force you to sit in. So those are our 3 daily hacks that you can just incorporate in your work life, in your home life, in basically everything you do. And I hope this helps you.
So we checked our common myths, we checked our daily hacks, what we can do daily in our daily life, and now the last point is how to get strong hip flexors. Now here it gets pretty interesting for you. We show you 4 different exercises how to increase your hip flexor strength and how to get out of this weakened position of your hip flexors.
So let's get to the practical part here. We're starting right off with hip cars, and you will need, I don't know, you can do it either at stall bars, you could do it in the gym, or you could do it in the door frame. You just need something that you can pop your hip against and then hold tight onto. And then you basically start with hip flexion and flex as far up as you can until you feel your pelvic moving, and then you rotate upwards and then you rotate internally, finding your way into extension, then extend back, externally rotate, and find your way back into hip flexion. Do this for like 3 reps on each side every day. In the morning, do 3 reps in your lunch break and 3 reps in the evening. And this will help you get more room in your hip capsule and ultimately will help you with your weak or tight hip flexors. Next up is hip flexor lift-offs with a straight leg. So we want to make sure we address our hip flexors in all areas and all positions. So we have bent leg, straight leg, we even have like elongated hip flexors, which means we're training them in a stretched position. So now we train them in a shortened position, straight. So we grab underneath our bent leg, and you can make this easier by sliding your foot towards you. So you're here, and the harder you want it to be, the further out you slide your foot away from you. Okay? So find a position that is comfortable for you, and then you'll lift off. And if you want to make this really hard, you sit up against the wall, so you can't compensate like at all. When you're sitting like this, you can compensate a little bit, but not much. And when you want the ultimate hip flexor work, you just sit up against the wall. So if this is too easy for you, then you just slide up a little further, and then you lift up from there. And you don't want to lift off like this. You want to have like as little lift off as possible, because this is where change happens. This is where you work at your end range, and this is where you work your strength for the series. Where you work your serious hip flexor strength. Okay, so you lift off for like 5 times, and then you hold it at the top for about 2-3 seconds, and then you release, you radiate, and then you lift off again, hold it, and set it down. Do this for like 5 reps with the isometric hold at the top, and then repeat that for 3 sets on every leg.
So another exercise is for your hip flexor strength, but in an elongated position. Here is an exercise called Active Hero. So you can make this exercise a little bit easier for you. If you're not familiar with this exercise, I really recommend using a resistance band or doing this exercise on our TRX, for example. And what you want to do is try to go in a kneeling position here with your foot and your feet plantar flexed, and then hold slightly to the resistance band or to the TRX. And before we go into the exercise, we want to engage our glutes and our hamstrings. And we're really increasing not only the strength of our hip flexors, but working for your hip extension, okay? So of course, by engaging your glutes and your hamstrings, which are hip extensors, we're strengthening also the hip extension here, okay? So with this being said, glutes engaged and hamstrings engaged, and with that, and a straight hip here, so really press your pelvic forward. We slowly go down until we can't hold the tension anymore or can't maintain a straight hip. Glutes are still engaged, and we drive ourselves up actively with a straight hip. Okay? You can do this harder for you if you want to go down in a lower position here, or by choosing a lighter resistance band. Do 6 to 8 reps here for 3 sets, and you're good to go. So the final and last exercise I'm going to show it to you is called passive range liftoff with a bent leg here, and you can do that on a table, which I really recommend, or on a plyo box in a gym. But I'm demonstrating you this exercise here today on a yoga block, which I'm using here, and I'm holding myself onto a stall bar so I can't compensate as much, okay? With my upper body, of course. So I'm gonna set myself up in a position where I'm still able to lift off my leg without really compensating too much by leaning back or to the side. I really focus on my body tension here and that my upper body stays in the same position. So we're focusing here on 5 lift-offs, and again using an isometric hold at the top. So hold the lift-off for about 3 to 5 seconds for each rep, and do these about 2 to 3 sets on each side, okay? So for this one, gonna start, irradiate our body and our whole body, put the air into abdominal area here, and engage everything, and then try to lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set back. Reposition yourself and do another rep here. Lift off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And what you really want to focus is on a small lift off. That's where change is made, because you're working at max effort. And of course, if you are able to lift off 10 to 15 centimeters, it's not that hard anymore, okay? So really focus on a small lift off and maximum effort, because you want to get rid of these tight hip flexors. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video today, and leave us a thumbs up or subscribe to our channel. For more information about mobility training and calisthenics, visit our website. The link is in the description below.